Hello, Forest friends. Welcome back. Today, we're going to go on another exciting math adventure to explore place value and comparing numbers using tens and ones. We also are going to jump a little bit into coins and counting coins and comparing two sets of coins to see what the value is. By the end of our lesson, we're going to understand place value comparing two-digit numbers. We also will use the greater than, less than, or equal sign to help us compare those objects. First, let's hike into our story, Forest Friends' Biggest Pumpkin. The Pumpkin Festival was finally here, with chilly air and autumn cheer. The Forest Friends had just one quest, to find the pumpkin that was best. Let's measure them and take a look, said Sally Squirrel with her notebook. We'll use our tens and ones to see which pumpkin wins. Let's count carefully. Marvin rushed to be first to measure. Mine is 38 inches. What a treasure. Gina Giraffe bent her neck down low. Mine is 47 inches. It sure did grow. 3 tens and 8 ones is what yours reads, but 4 tens is more, so my pumpkin leads. Gina's pumpkin was now on top, but Robert Rabbit stepped in with a hop. Mine is 42, Robert Rabbit boldly stated. The tens and ones place will get it rated. 4 tens and 2 ones is quite a score, but Gina's ones place holds much more. Sally Squirrel spun hers around. 55, that's what I found. 5 10 beats 4, that much is true. Could someone have one bigger too? Then Robert gasped and waved his paw. Look over there, the biggest of all. They rolled it out and checked its size. 62 inches, what a surprise. 6 tens and 2 ones, what a sight. It was the largest, clear and bright. Let's carve them up, we'll share this prize, and make a feast of pumpkin pies. When the time finally came for dinner, by sharing they each became the winner. They laughed and cheered and worked as one. Their pumpkin quest was finally done. The end. You know what? I'm really craving pumpkin pie right about now. But anyway, our forest friends have a lot going on again today. A festival, pumpkins, pie, comparing tens and ones, all the things. As much as I would love to spend our time maybe making a pie or eating pie, we should probably do a little bit of math. So let's revisit our story and see how we can use math and pumpkins on this adventure. So back here on the first page, the first thing that I noticed in the story is that Sally Squirrel mentions using tens and ones. I put that in bold so we could see. I'm going to read this paragraph real quick and listen for those words, tens and ones. Let's measure them and take a look, said Sally Squirrel with her notebook. We'll use our tens and ones to see which pumpkin wins. Let's count carefully. Okay, but what are tens and ones? I hear it in the story. I probably use it when I talk sometimes, but what does it truly mean? Well, tens and ones are part of place value. Can you say place value? Good. Place value is the value assigned to each digit in a number. Now, when we're looking at this number, 24, that's the whole number. But the 2, I really wouldn't say the number 2 in 24. I would call it a digit. And then the 4 is a digit. So there are 2 digits in this number, 24, right? Okay, so I'm going to draw what this means to make it a little easier to understand how there's a difference in the digits. The 2 is actually going to show us that there are, try to find the best way to write this for you, 2 groups of 10. So this is our tens place. So I'm going to write tens. And the 4 shows us our ones place. So in the number 24, the digit 2 means we have 2 groups of 10. So we could draw it a couple different ways. I'm going to use sticks. In the ones place, the digit 4 tells us that we have 4 ones. So in our number 24, we have 2 groups of 10. And 4 ones. Okay, so that's the value. The value of the 2 is actually 20, 10, 20. and the value of the 4 is 4. This is all math that you probably already know, but I want to make sure we're on the same page before we go on. Let's do a couple more, and I'll try to show a few different ways for these numbers. All right, so what number is this? Yeah, that's right, 36. So in the number 36, I have 2 digits. I have a 3 and a 6. The 3 actually stands for, I'm going to flip to this side real quick, 3 groups of 10. So I have a group of 10 here, a group of 10 here, and a group of 10 here. Now, if I'm counting by tens, this would be 10, 20, 30. So the value of this digit 3 is actually 30. When I go over here to look at the 6, this is ones. It's in the ones place. And this would mean I have 6 individual units, ones. So the value of this 6 is 6. All right, let's try one more. All right, this one's a bit of a challenge. In the number 11, think before I show you what the value of each one means. All right, so take a second and think. Does this one have the same value as this one? If you said no, that's correct. This one is in the tens place, so it means we have one group of 10, right? So if I put my tens, and I'm going to show you my tens a different way today. This is a group of 10. When I was drawing the sticks earlier, that means there were 10 ones inside of that stick. I'm pretty sure you already knew that, but I just wanted to make sure. All right, so I'm going to erase that. Okay, so this digit 1 means one group of 10. This digit 1 means that in the ones place, we only have one unit. So this number is 11, meaning we have one group of 10 and one 1. Nice job. All right, let's go back into our story for just a moment. The friends are planning on using their tens and ones to help them find the right pumpkin. Okay, so when we look through here, we know that they're going to be comparing using place value like we just practiced. Listen carefully as I read, and if you're following along, I do have it in bold, but listen carefully when we are finding out about the first set of pumpkins and what we're comparing. Marvin rushed to be the first to measure. Mine is 38 inches. What a treasure. Gina Giraffe bent her neck down low. Mine is 47 inches. It sure did grow. I'm going to pause here. The numbers that they're using are also represented down here in the illustration. Okay, so we have 38 inches for Marvin's pumpkin. We can see that he's measuring around his pumpkin for the size. And then Gina Giraffe says, well, hers is 47 inches, and she had measured hers. Now, if we're just looking, we can probably tell that Gina's pumpkin looks a little bit bigger, but we really need to use our numbers and the value of those numbers to find out and compare. Okay? So going on, it says 3 tens and 8 ones is what yours reads, but 4 tens is more, so my pumpkin leads. Gina's pumpkin was now on top, but Robert Rabbit stepped in with a hop. Before we find out what Robert Rabbit's going to do, let's figure out what he means. 3 tens and 8 ones is what yours reads, but 4 tens is more, so my pumpkin leads. When we compare numbers, like we just talked about the value, but when we compare them, we are actually going to look at the numbers in the tens and ones place. So I just took a little snippet from our story, and let's talk about what these numbers truly mean. Okay, so I'm going to flip sides again. When I'm comparing 2-digit numbers, I can look first at the tens place, and you can see it underlined here from the story. I'm also going to draw an arrow. I have the digit 4 and the digit 3. Now I could go all the way back to what I've done in the past with a number path or number line. I could use my fingers, but we should know that 4 is bigger or greater than 3. So I don't have to do anything else. I can just stop right there and say Yeah, this pumpkin is bigger. 47 is bigger than 38 because I know that 4 groups of 10, or 4, is greater than 3. However, if you've been with me long enough, you know that I like to have some sort of visual to help me figure that out. So I'm going to split the screen again, and I really want to look at what 47 means before we go further. So if I took 47 and put that over here, 4 is in my tens place, and I'll even write that, tens. Okay, so 4 tens would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. But those do not just mean 1, 2, 3, 4. They mean groups of 10. So count by tens with me. We have 10, 20, 30, 40. So the value in this 4 is 40. I'm just going to write it here just so we can remember. Okay, spin back around this direction. Our ones, we have a 7 in the ones place, the digit 7. This is telling me I have, whoops, oh my, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 ones here. So I could even put plus 7 to show me I had 40 in the tens, 7 in the ones. That gives me my 47. Now let's come over on this side, have a little bit more room here, and do our 38. Again, this is the tens, this is the ones. Okay, 3 groups of 10 would look like this, 1, 2, 3, and 8 ones would look like this. Okay, from here, let me switch colors to make it a little bit easier. If this wasn't enough, if knowing all the things I've said so far wasn't enough, we could look straight at our pictures. Let's look at the tens. 1, 2, 3, or 10, 20, 30. Okay, so I have 3 of those here. Let's go over here. 1, 2, 3, or 10, 20, 30. I have more on this side. So this is really just a visual representation, a picture to show you that here we have more in the tens than we do here. We won't go into this much detail for every problem, but I really wanted to reach out to the boys and girls at home who think the way I do and need to really see the picture. Okay, so let's erase all this and keep going in the story. Minus 42, Robert Rabbit boldly stated. The tens and ones place will get it rated. 4 tens and 2 ones is quite a score, but Gina's ones place holds much more. Now, what in the world? We just said we could look at the tens place, right? So 4 tens and 2 ones is in Robert Rabbit's, and he's comparing it to Gina's, that one from the last page. But now we've got to do something different. What in the world does this mean? Gina's ones place holds much more. Let's take a little snippet back. All right, here are the 2 pumpkins. This is Gina Giraffe's, and this is Robert Rabbit's. Now, I just stood here and told you that when you're comparing numbers, you can look at the tens place. So let's. We have a 4 in the tens place, which means 4 groups of 10, and a 4 in the tens place, which means 4 groups of 10. What do we do if they're the same? Yeah, I heard someone say exactly what I was starting to wonder. If the tens place is the same, which in this case it is, can I look at the ones? Yeah, that's why this is underlined, and I bet that's what they meant in the story. So Gina's ones place is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Robert's ones place is a 2. 1, 2. We already know they both have 4 groups of 10 because of this 4 here. So let's compare 7 dots to 2 dots. Which one has more? Yeah, this one. So they're right. Gina's pumpkin still wins. All right, let's erase and keep going. All right. That is not what I wanted. Let's try again. Here we go. Okay. Sally Squirrel spun hers around. 55, that's what I found. 5 tens beat 4. That much is true. Could someone have one bigger too? Now, wait a minute. I wonder what we're comparing here. I only see one pumpkin. Do you know what we're talking about? Yeah, if I go back to here, we already know this one's out of the running for being the biggest prize pumpkin because 47 was bigger than 42. So I'm going to hold that 47 in my head. The last pumpkin, Gina's pumpkin, was 47 inches. Now we have one that's 55 inches. I'm going to write this up here so they're next to each other. What do I do? What did we say a few moments ago that we could compare? That's right, we're going to go to the tens place first. Tens place is here and here. Well, that's easy, right? We don't even have to look at the ones because 5 is greater than 4. That's what it means here. 5 tens beat 4. So Gina's pumpkin's out. Now we have a new pumpkin in the running. We're going to keep going. Then Robert gasped and waved his paw. Look over there, the biggest of all. They rolled it out and checked its size. 62 inches. What a surprise. 6 tens and 2 ones. What a sight. It was the largest, clear and bright. I'm going to pause there. The last pumpkin was 55. That was our winner until that point. So we had 55. Oh my goodness. Let's try down here. We had 55. And now we have 62. That's the pumpkin that just rolled in. What do? Tens or ones? Yeah, we compare the tens. 5 and 6. We know that this means 5 groups of 10, but this one means 6 groups of 10. And 6 is more than 5, so that pumpkin is out. All right, they found their largest pumpkin, their biggest pumpkin. I want to take one more look at this story before we move on. And let's look at all the pumpkins we had, okay? So we had 62 inches, 55, 42, 47, and 38. Take a second and look at all those numbers. And if you were with me last time, we talked about putting things in order by size. We could do the same things with these pumpkins. We could use their size. We could also use the numbers, use these inches, and put them in order. So if I wanted to find the smallest, I would look at the tens place. Let's erase that. I would look at the tens place. I have 4, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So which one of those numbers is the smallest? Yeah, the 3. So my 38 would be the smallest. I'm going to mark that out because we're done with it. Now I'm going to go back. Let's look at the tens again. I have 40, or a 4, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I have 4, but I have 2 of them. What happens? Let's switch colors to make it a little easier. What happens now? I've got this one, 47, in case that's hard to see, and I have this one, 42. I can't look at the tens because they're the same, so I have to look at the ones. That's right. The 7 is bigger, so 42 would be my next smallest. Let's see, 42. All right, let's mark that one out. We're done with that guy. All right, now I have a 47, 55, 62. So looking at those tens, I have a 4, a 5, and a 6. What comes next? The 4. So I would put 47. I'm going to run out of room. This one's done. And then what would be next? The 5 or the 6? I'm going from smallest to greatest. Yeah, the 5 would be next. So 55. Let's see if we can squeeze them in over here. The last one would be 62. So our numbers went 38, 42, 47, 55, 62. Great job. Okay, moving on. We're going to compare some more numbers, but this time we're going to take away the pictures, and we're just going to be looking at the numbers We've practiced this. We know exactly what, excuse me, what this number means and what this number means. But now we're going to use some terms. Greater than, can you say that? Greater than. Less than, say that at home. Good job. And equal to. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to be putting a symbol in here. We'll either use greater than, less than, or equal to compare these numbers. All right? So what do you think we should do for this one? I have 41, which is my age, and 38, which is my best friend's age. So what do we think? Yeah, unfortunately, mine is greater. So we would use this symbol. Can you see that okay? Let's try something different. Let's try that one. Maybe that's a little bit better. We would say that 41 is greater than 38. Remember, this number means there are 4 tens and 1 1. This number means there are 3 tens and 8 ones. All right? So that's what each of those numbers means. So we could say 41 is greater than 38. Let's try another one. A little bit quicker. Okay? This next one, 22 and 25. So we'll say I'm at home, I have 22 blueberries in a bowl, 25 blueberries in another bowl. What could I say about these? Can I compare the tens? I could, but it's not going to help me because they're the same number. They both have 2 groups of 10. So now I need to go to the ones. So I have a 2 and a 5. Is the 2 greater than 5 or is it less than 5? Yeah, it's less. So our symbol would be this. If we wanted to read this math statement, we would say 22 is less than 25. Say that with me at home. Ready? 22 is less than 25. Awesome. All right, let's get another one in here. 37 and 36. These are going to be points in a game. All right? So the home team has 37 points. The visitors team has 36 points. How do we compare those? Look at the tens, right? 3 groups of 10 and 3 groups of 10. Nope, that's not going to help. What do? We look at the ones. We have 7 in the ones place and we have 6 in the ones place. If you're still struggling, you could draw a picture and see if 7 is greater or less than 6. Or we could know that 7 is greater. So our math statement would say 37 is greater than 36. All right, let's give it one more. This time we are going to talk about stickers on my chore chart. I get stickers for picking up my shoes all over the house. I have lots of shoes and I leave them everywhere. So let's say that I have 14 stickers on my chore chart and my daughter has 14 stickers on her chore chart. How do we compare those two numbers? I got it. I already know the answer to this. I am going to, the ones, nope, the tens are the same. So I'm not going to look here. I'm going to look here at the ones and they're the same. Now what? What are we going to do? Nothing, right? That's it. They're the same. Same number of tens, same number of ones. So I would say that these are, would I say 14 is greater than 14? No. Would I say 14 is less than 14? No. I get to use this one. 14 is equal to 14. That means the two numbers have the same value. Okay? All right, let's move on. We are going to come over here and experiment with place value with some money. So I had a little bit of money in my pocket, sticky, and a little bit of money in my purse. Not a lot though. Okay, so here's what I want to know. This group has 4 coins in it. All right, so let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 coins. All right, This group, let's see if I can pick them all up. Work smarter, Mrs. Fithian. Here we go. Let's count these coins. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 coins in that group. Okay. 4 coins over here, 9 coins over here. So that means this group has the most money, right? Well, it depends on what I'm saying. Does it have the most coins? Yes. Does that mean it also has the most value? How much money, if I counted up all the money and I said I had, let's see, 27 cents. Do we think that that is more than this just because there's more coins on that side? I'm already kind of telling you the answer. Yeah, I don't think that's right. I don't think it matters how the number of coins I have over here. It's going to matter the value. Okay, friends. So for an at-home activity that you can do similar to what I've been doing today is very easy. You're just going to compare the numbers of things. You could count a number of objects first and then compare your 2 numbers. Like I have 15 Beanie Babies at home and I have 26 socks that need to be matched up. Which number is bigger and which one is smaller based on the groups of 10s? Or you could just talk to someone at your house, ask how old they are, like I shared my age and my friend's age, and talk about the groups of 10s and 1s and see which one is more or less using those numbers. Friends, math is everywhere. We've been working so hard today, comparing numbers, looking at place value, looking at the 10s, looking at the 1s. I challenge you to keep working on this at home. Have fun, and I'll see you next time.